Hello, John.
John.
Sat Shree, I am learning to respond to dejection, despair as an opportunity, which has been very helpful in my personal search for the divine presence.
Congratulations. That is a milestone. That is a paradigm change. That is a doorway. Congratulations, John. It is the recognition of where the work is.
There's more to the question.
Okay, but good. I just want to acknowledge,
Okay.
truth when it shows up.
All right. Now, as apocalyptic like devastation is escalating, here, if you live here, I want to know more about how to be, how to live. I often feel so heartbroken, hollow inside. The grief is so deep in my bones, yet I seem to go numb and disassociate. I keep coming back into my body, and it brings peace to the moment, but the problems we face are so immense. How do I work with my despair over common plight? What is my responsibility to myself, humanity, Mother Earth? It's interesting, John, because Sat Shree and I just had a similar conversation this morning, because it's so bad here right now with the amount of smoke we have, and then everything else going on in the world. So.
We're actually, it's remarkable. Last month or so, we've been in a perpetual apocalyptic haze as California burns. I would imagine standing next to the fire is better than being downwind in this pocket that's holding a very, very high hazard levels of air pollution. So, and you have a front row seat on the despair. You have a front row seat on the suffocation and the loss of life that smoke represents. As a suffocation on the hopelessness of mankind being able to act efficiently, effectively enough, which it has no evidence of doing except in absolute peril, to address this. Nature, of course, is a force, primal, first. It was here first. We are simply, inhabiting her world. So, yeah, from the point of view of what we've known, from the point of view of the condition of humanity and all the other forms of suffering that go on, as well as all the good that we can see happening, it looks like not good news. It looks like the Holocaust, it looks like the end. How do you hold that? I assure you that this is a possibility that is emerging. It has to push up the consequences of previous actions and make it apparent so people experience and recognize in each of us, in our own way, our own relationship with this, that it separates us from what our true purpose in life is. So your despair, John, is your despair. And the despair, like shame or dejection, are doorways. They're not doorways to relinquish responsibility. They're not doorways to disclaim and bypass and go into just awareness. They're doorways to train ourselves to hold what appears to be an apocalyptic destruction of humanity and the opportunity of human life. We're not in charge of that, by the way. The universe has got the plan. Sometimes I rest in that vantage point. But you must know that this time we find ourselves in is just one tiny fraction of all time. And it has a role to play. And it is in these types of moments of peril, of crisis, that calls us up to action beyond our ego. So, hold the peril as the possibility and be patient in the fact that it will take time for you to be able to not go where we go when we hear stories or when we project into the future about where things may be headed and where things are headed. And it is good to take the position to step out of the apparent negativity. This is the apparent negativity. and step into possibility. And that's those moments. Each time you can choose to hold this in a context that may not yet be yours to hold. We call that faith. When we hold it in the context of faith, faith is the recognition that what's arising is purposeful. And what role do I have to play? I'm saying, I'm telling you, and each of you, it's your own ability to be present and to hold in that place of silent, self-aware stillness all the paradoxical components that may be coming, and not give one more or greater value other than a showing. And what will happen in the showing, that means when you hold it long enough, the clouds move, and the blue sky comes through, and the air becomes clear, and you say, that's what that all was for. So it is the holding that, and the being able to choose to be there when we're in the midst of these things and the hopelessness and the despair. And of course, we all have this. I had it this morning. Part of what happened this morning in Samadhi, I came out early. It was too much. That's the word that came up. Too much. I don't have that experience. That's not my experience. But the concept of too much was a part of my human that had to come forward and be present with the fact that I was wearing a mask as I sat in Samadhi. I wore a mask all day long. That there was no place where there wasn't a mask. And the human in me got pushed, until in that moment of Samadhi, it said, too much. And I hold the too much. And then I organize myself because I'm doing an intensive. And I go into the ways of how to bring forward a languaging, a possibility that is more full and perfect in its expression than what has occurred before. And of course, I left pieces of myself walking from there to here, scattered amongst the debris and the dirt of our houses and the property around us. And here I am with that. You keep showing up. You keep showing up with faith. That's why the 17th chapter is just before the 18th, because it's about ready to enter the battlefield. So, John, you're with me. And all of you who feel the despair are with me. We're all together holding the cry of the World Mother. She just needs to be heard. She just needs to be felt. You just need to feel her anguish, not for herself, but for her children, all living beings. But she can't protect them forever, not in this dimension. She can only do what she can. And then she lets out a cry. And who hears the cry? It's not the Supreme Being living in its abode. We hear the cry. We are the ones who feel it, hold it, and recognize the loss of the possibility that she has been holding for humanity up until now, or seemingly so. So, thank you for that. You're just doing the work, John.